Okay, today's project is going to be reinstalling the glass into the door of my 55 Chevy 2nd Series truck. This procedure should work for any 55 to 59 Chevy or GMC. Okay, here's what you're going to need. I have my vent window assembly right here. I have that all together with the new glass in it and the seals. And my my window inside the frame has the rubber seal on here, keep the weather out. This is the channel that the glass goes into the door where the window glass rides in. And these are two of the whiskers that seal the window, go inside the door and seal the window and keep it from rattling. This stuff is new armrest and door handles and stuff like that. Okay, this is the driver's door, which is done already. I wanted to show you that I had taped this edge to protect it. I don't know if you can see it, but I only put one layer of tape on, and I scratched it here, and I think I scratched it back here as well. So on the other door I actually tripled it up, so hopefully that'll do the job, because when you're sliding the vent window in and out, kind of leans on here, so you want to protect it before you do it. Okay, we're back onto the passenger side of the truck, and like I had shown you, I had put the tape on the finished surface here to protect it, and like I said, I tripled that up. Hopefully I won't scratch this side. First thing needs to happen is to get the door remote off here for the lock. Panel's already off, obviously. Armrest is off and the knobs. I had this part to paint it, so first thing I'm going to do is get this remote off. It's held on by 3 Phillips head screws here by the latch, and 3 clutch head screws here by the remote itself. So this is what a clutch head screw driver looks like. Well, you can see that. I'll show you the screw in a second. There's the screw. I don't know. It's kind of egg-shaped. But anyway, it's just an oddball. It's on these old trucks. This is the old channel that the glass would run in as a guide. Obviously all the felt has fallen off of this one, and I saved it. You can see that it has these clips on it which fastened it into place. The new stuff which is here, you can see it has the felt in it, and it has like a fabric backing to it. This gets glued in. The problem with that is if you put your glass in first, you can't glue this in, because now your glass is in the way, because this C-channel fits into a metal C-channel that is down inside the door, which I'll show you now. Okay. Where the light is flashing, right there, that channel runs from down there all the way up in the door to there, and it stops. So the felt seat channel gets glued into this one. You can also see down at the bottom where the light is right there, there is a stop. And what I'm going to do is cut my new channel to the same length as the old. I'm going to use that as a pattern. So it hits that stop. And I'm going to glue it in to this metal seat channel in the door, all the way up to the top there. The other thing I did, this is the top of the frame of the door. The vent window goes in right here, and then the division bar comes down like that. So I had the vent assembly in, and this pencil mark right here is where it stops. So when I glue the felt seat channel into the metal channel inside the door, I will make sure that I have enough to get it up so it's here and I'm not short back here or too long. So this is just a reference mark for me to get that thing to the right length. But like I said, I kept the old one, and I'm going to cut the new one to the same length as the old one, because I know that that hits the stop on the bottom and will come up and be the correct length for where the vent assembly is. Okay, I cut this piece of seat channel. This is the new stuff, and you can see that there is metal inside there. So I just cut it with a hacksaw. I put it side by side with the old one to get the correct length. Cut a piece of cake. If you don't have that stop down inside of your door, you don't have to cut it. Just let it run past. Just make sure that when you glue it in, that it's going to be long enough to, or short, and not too long, not too short. Butts up, it ends up perfectly butted up against the vent window assembly. So now I'm going to put it in the door, make sure I'm all good, and then put the bend in it up top on the door, which is kind of a pain in the butt. You can see how this stuff wants to go all over the place. I cut a piece of 1/2-inch plywood that I'm going to use to try to help me form it to the contour and the bend in the door. Okay, that's in the door, into the metal channel inside the door. Bring it up along the window opening there. Using my plywood to help me shape it. This stuff is kind of hard to shape and make it keep its form. I kind of don't like this stuff. If it doesn't want to stay, I'm going to try this clamp. This will help me out. That's really close, so I'm going to go with that. Okay, the glue I'm going to use is this black super weather strip and gasket adhesive. This stuff is like a contact cement, so you need to put it on both sides. On the metal channel inside the door, the doors were sandblasted. They're pretty clean, but I wire brushed the channel. I wiped it off with rubbing alcohol to clean it off. And like I believe I mentioned earlier, I'm only going to glue it to that point inside the door. because it'll make it harder to get the glass in afterwards, and I can't glue that part after the glass is in. So I'm going to stick that the felt C-channel inside there, get a mark where I want the glue to stop, and then put the glue on, stick it in place. On this section of the felt channel, you can put it on all three sides because there's three sides to the metal channel inside the door. When you get out into the door frame itself, one side of the three sides doesn't stick, so you want to make sure you put the put this stuff on the proper sides. Now I'm going to get inside the door here and put it on the metal channel inside the door, the glue that is. Okay, I know I showed you this before, but you can see the channel. I have the glue on it, the metal channel. This is inside the door, all the way down to the bottom, and hopefully I can show you all the way up to the top. Once the glue is tacky on both sides, then you can install it and press it together, and that'll hold it into place. Things are looking pretty good there. I'll take off my masking tape where I marked where I'm going to stop the glue and get that out of the way. You want to be careful when you put this in. You don't want to get glue all over everything else, and you don't want it to stick in place where you don't want it. Well, in this case, it's kind of easy. I go down to my stop, simply push the channel, the felt channel into the steel channel in the door, and it'll glue it into place. Use my half-inch block to help push it in. Get good contact. Okay, I think I mentioned earlier that when I put this channel in, that I wasn't going to glue it the whole way. Leave it flapping in the wind here. It'll make it easier to get the glass in later. For me, the most tedious part of this whole procedure was this channel. Kind of just a pain in the butt. Anyway, the next thing to happen is the window regulator needs to go in. So here it is. Gets detached with 4 bolts. Here's your window crank right here. This channel right here is called the sash channel, lower sash channel. It has 2 holes in it. Here and here, and here where the actual window frame bolts to. Bolts actually go in from this side. There's 3 plastic rollers, one here, and then there's 2 up here where this channel rides on, here and here. This one needs to, this lower one needs to go into a metal channel that's very similar to this one but shorter. It's spot welded inside the door. So as you're putting this in, you want to make sure that this roller is in place inside of that channel before you bolt it all up, because you bolt it up and then you'll have to take it back out. This channel can come off for now. So now I'm going to bolt this thing in. One thing I forgot to mention, before I put this regulator in, I had cleaned it up and I had lubricated it, all the pivot points with some PV blaster. That stuff's not supposed to evaporate like some of the other lubricants. Okay, now that that's in and it's tight, we can put our lower sash channel into place. Make sure you get it going in the right direction. So right now with that in place, I am going to crank the window down as far as I can. Okay, with the window regulator in the door and bolted up, we're ready to put the glass in. Okay, we got the vent assembly. On the bottom of the vent assembly, you can see this bracket right here. It has two holes in it that get bolted to the inside of the door through the inner door skin. This thing is obviously too wide to go in the opening because the opening is only as wide as the division bar right here, a little wider than a division bar. So you need to turn this thing to get it down in the slot and get it started. Now the vent assembly and the window kind of go in as a team. So this one goes in first. You put it in, you want to turn the vent window towards yourself, because if it's the other way, it'll bump into the top of the door. So you turn it, get your bracket in, get it started. Now you can twist it in the direction it goes, kind of lean it into place. This is where your tripled up tape helps to save your painted surface on the inside of your door. Next, the glass goes in. Got this rubber weather stripping right here that you need to deal with as you're dropping it in. So the front section of the window goes into the vent assembly. You kind of got to pull it out a little bit. Give yourself some room. Work your glass down inside the door. Get it past that rubber. Get the vent assembly down in. Now your window's in. The other thing, there's some tabs on the vent assembly you have to get around the top section of the door. Now, okay, now you can hold your glass up in the air. You can bring your crank the window up so that the lower sash comes up to the window. And you have to position the lower sash channel into place and bring the window up high enough that you can put the two screws in. Okay, you can see here that this is your lower sash channel, and the holes here and here are lined up with the threaded lower section of the window frame. So now you need to bolt those into place. Again, they're the clutch head screws. It's best to get them both started before you tighten them. Okay, so they're in place. Next thing you need to do is to screw the vent assembly in. don't know how well you can see these, but there is 4, I believe they're number 8 sheet metal screws, about 5/8 long. One goes here, one goes there, there's one there, and there, which is hard to see. So you want to get those in, get them loosely started, and then down below here, that bracket I had showed you earlier, there's two quarter 20 bolts that go in here, these 2 holes that bolt that bracket to hold the rest of the bottom section of the assembly into place. So I'm going to put those screws and bolts in right now. The division bar, these are pretty close. You might need I have an ice pick here to line these up. Just going to tighten everything up. Okay, they're all good and tight. Okay, now we're back to my favorite part of this channel. Like I mentioned before, I did not glue it once it came out of the door and all the way up. So where this gets glued, it's only going to get glued on the top side and the outside. This side, obviously, there's nothing for it to glue to. So what I do is I'll just pull this out of the way a little bit, put the glue on this edge, the top edge, do the same on the fabric channel, then I will push it into place, get it where it goes. Stuff's a little twisted here. I'm not happy about that. Okay. Alright, once I get the glue on, like I said, get it into place. I'll roll the window up. That'll hold it into place. Squeeze it where it goes. And then that should hold it. Okay, it seems pretty good. Now when you're putting it on, you want to try to, when you roll it, when you get it in place and roll the window up, that'll hold it up. So what you kind of want to do is I'm going to make sure that it sticks to the outside edge, the other edge with the glue on it. So I'll work my way up here with this block. Alright, well, it's in. I got one spot here where I stuck it and I didn't want to stick it. It's a little bit loose. There's actually a large area here that I'm not happy with. On the outside there was this whole area didn't stick. So I got these blocks on here with these quick grip clamps that are padded on the other side that will hold that into place while it sets up. Alright, now we can put the door lock regulator back on. It just goes back on the way it came off. Alright, the next step in this process is to put these anti-rattle strips inside the door. There's 2 of them. One goes on the outboard lip of the door and one goes on the inboard. They kind of sandwich the glass, keep it from rattling, seal out some of the weather as well. But I found a problem. It's kind of bumming me out. Alright, this is what these pieces look like. Here's the felt that the glass rides against and keeps it from rattling. And on the back of these, there's these steel clips. And what they do is they snap into holes that are already in the door. The problem I found is that the holes in my door are only 1/4 inch. And these clips are actually almost 3/8 of an inch wide. So that's a problem. So they're not going to fit that way. So what I'm planning to do is take a die grinder and cut off of each side of this to get it small enough to snap in. I'm only going to do one of them. If I ruin it, then I can buy another one, I guess. I don't want to ruin both of them right off the bat. I think it'll work. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is just trim those off and try to snap them in. Okay, here's my die grinder. It has a metal cutting blade on it. It's a fiber blade. I'm going to use that to cut down the clips, the metal clips on the back of the anti-rattle pieces. Actually, I already did do it. Just show you the comparison here. Like I said, the hole was 1/4 inch. There's the one I cut down, and then there's the one, this is the other one that I haven't cut yet. So you can see that it's much thinner. So this should snap into the holes in the door. The other thing you want to do is take an even amount off of both sides, because these things were centered up pretty good with the holes in the door. You don't want to take it off, all of it off one side. And you don't want to do what I did there, which is I probably took too much off of that one. It'll still work. So anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and try to snap this one in. Okay. I also decided to take a little bit of material off of these openings right here to let it squeeze in enough to give me a little extra clearance to pop that in. This should go in. It's a little over 1/4 inch down in this, the smallest section of this. I'm not showing you, down in here and on the other side. So I'm going to just try it and see if it pops in. Hope for the best. This piece goes along this part of the door. See the window frame right here? The holes it snaps into, there's 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th one here that you can't see. So let's see how this goes. This is another part of this that I thought was a pain in the butt. Just like the felt channel, I didn't like that either. Part of this that is rolled up like that, that goes with the shape of the door, this part goes behind that felt channel. You have to push it behind there. It's not that big of a deal, but it should be behind it. I have these brake pliers. When you squeeze them, they open. I use these on the other side to snap some of these in. Can't use it on all of them, but it helped. Just use this plywood to back it up. Right, that one went in. I didn't use the plywood, it was too thick. Now, and work your way down the line. The problem with these ones is now the frame's in the way. So, trying to on the other side, I had the same problem. Too wide. Frame's too wide in that position, so you need to roll it up a little bit so you got more clearance. The glass is thinner than the frame. It helps you get that down into place. Then what I did is I took this paint scraper, I put tape on it to protect the painted glass frame. I put it in there, twisted it to snap the snap clip in. I will show you where that piece is. It's running right along here. You can see it. See the chrome edge of it right here. It's just a pain in the butt getting it in there and prying on the frame of the glass and afraid to break the glass. So I forgot about this. This is worse than putting the channel, that C channel in. So I have one more to do. And what I'm going to need to do is cut those clips down because I got the same problem. I don't know if you can see it there, but that hole is only 1/4 inch, so I'll have to cut those down a little bit. And I'm going to make the opening a little bit wider so that it'll squeeze easier, and hopefully this one will go in easier. I did the same thing on this one. I ground down the clips to make them smaller. Kind of see where it's shiny. That's how much I ground off roughly. Just so for reference, this didn't happen on the other door. The holes were the right sides. This door on this truck, the truck's a 55. I believe this door is original 55 door. I'll show you the difference with the mounting screws for the panels later. They are different. The other door, I believe, is off of a 56 to a 58 or 59, I'm sorry. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but now I'm going to try to snap this one in, hopefully without too much trouble. Use my super duper pliers to maybe snap this first one in and twist it into place and open. Thank God, the last one's clipped in. Okay, so the window seemed like it worked all right. There is a problem here. When they put these clips into these pieces, there's little pins that go through, and they get bent over on the inside, on the felt side. Well, when I was clipping this together, one of these straightened out, so it's sticking out, and that's what the door's catching on. It scratched the frame. So I'm going to need to tap that back in. Hopefully that solves the problem. I'm not real happy with these. They're junk. Alright, I guess the only good thing about it was it happened in an area where I could get my super duper pliers in there. So let's see how it works now. Works good. But as you can see, scratched the heck out of my paint job. Very nice. The next thing that goes on is this trim that goes around the window. Right here. It's held on by 4 clips. There's one here. It's on the back side upright. There's another one that goes on the upright in the front, and then there's a couple on the top. I am using the originals. The originals were in there and they got painted. I didn't take them out. I had lost one. I found it here. I'm going to put that in and use it as well. I bought the aftermarket ones. I tried them on the other side. They didn't work very well. And you just have 2 Phillips head screws that go on the bottom on the front and back. Alright, so the clip goes up in there. 4 clips get clipped in, and screws get in, and it's on in place. I left the tape on doing this because you can scratch your finish down here with this frame as you're putting it on as well. Alright, sorry about that, the battery was going dead on the camera. So like I was saying, I left the tape on here. You could scratch it up, so I'm going to take that off. Now, I did nick it a little bit. Didn't protect the rest of it perfectly, so that's good. Now we have the door panel. Where you put the, you can buy these little things, little donuts. There's foam ones, and then there's rubber ones. Foam ones go on the inside of the door panel. Where the door handles go for the window and the lock. Alright, here's the panel. I had some sound deadening material left over that I put on the back to keep this thing from rattling and making noise. As I mentioned earlier, this door, it's a 55. It has, I believe, 11 screws on the face, and then 2 on the back, or on the inside the door jamb. I'm sorry, they're right here and here. These are quarter 20s, and the ones that hold the panel on are 10/24s. You can see the difference. On the other door, I bought the kit with the screws in it from the vendor, and for a 55 it specifies that it uses these screws. My other door, which I think is off of a, I mentioned this earlier, is off of a 56 to a 59, uses all quarter 20s for the face and on the door jamb. So that was something else that I ran into. So now I'm going to slap this thing on. I got my donuts on, the rubber donuts on first. Like everything else, get all the screws started, then tighten them all off. I got that on, I just want to see how it closes. Seems to be good. Alright, next up, going to put on the armrest. This is a reproduction, it seems to be pretty nice. It comes with a couple screws. It also comes with a template to drill the holes in your door panel right here if you don't have them. So that's nice as well. So I'm going to slap this baby on. It appears that my doors did not have the holes in the panels, but the nuts were inside the door. There's weld nuts inside there for these screws to go into. Alright, the last thing to put on is the door crank and the door handle. They have screws that hold them on after you slide them on. The teeth inside there, which you can't see, are made onto the teeth on the window regulator and the lock remote. And here's a couple washers to go behind it to protect the door panel. Okay, that completes the project. I'm not even going to guess how long it took to do it. It seemed like it took forever, but it turned out pretty good. If you take your time, you'll get it done and it'll be great. So, I'm happy with it. That's that. Thanks for watching. See ya. Alright, the next thing that needs to happen is the window regulator needs to go in. I had some sound deadening material. I had some sound deadening material left.